Hello, everyone. Welcome to the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every school offers a unique and different experience, and who better to explain what the dental school has to offer than the student who goes there? Our goal is to give you a first-hand account of every dental school program across America and Puerto Rico, and ultimately help you make the best decision on which school is going to be right for you. Today, we'll be showcasing Miss Claudia Pruneda. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. Claudia Pruneda, who is a first-year student at the University of Texas School of Dentistry at Houston. How are you doing today, Claudia?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. So can't complain, man. The dental school grounds, but yeah, can't complain. But just want to say, first off, welcome and thank you for taking some time out to join us during this series. And if you could, explain a little bit more about yourself, where you come from originally, where you went to school um, for undergrad, as well as if you did a master's, where you went there, and then just a little bit about your story of why you chose dentistry.
Okay, yeah, sure, of course. So I did my undergrad at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. So we're in the very, very southern tip of Texas. And I actually did undergrad in 2.5 years because I
Wow.
wanted to, yeah, I wanted to finish and I wanted to work in different like clinics and offices and just kind of get more of that experience before starting dental school. So that worked out pretty well. And when I kind of knew that I was going to go into dentistry at a pretty young age, just because when I was 14, even younger, I think my mom was like, "Oh, you're going to be a dentist." And I remember thinking, like, why? No, she's not a dentist. No one in my family's in healthcare. It was just a really random thing for her to say. And
Wow.
I mean, I'm in dental school now, so it kind of just worked out. But that's kind of how it started. And yeah, now we're here.
She planted the seed and it blossomed.
It worked.
Awesome, awesome. So if you could just tell us a little bit more about UT, what you guys call it, UTSD, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So if you could tell us a little bit more about UTSD, exactly, I guess, where it's located in Houston. Is it right in the city? Is it a little bit outside? As well as a little bit about the class size. I guess, how many people do you have coming in first year?
Yeah, sure. So we're actually right in the middle of the medical center in Houston. Houston's a huge, huge city. So we're near,
Huge.
from here we can see MD Anderson and all the major hospitals. So we're in a pretty good location. And Houston's, of course, is, it's, everyone knows Houston, it's a large city. We have like plenty of, professional sports teams,
Mhm.
and we've got theater and just, there's a lot of things to do here. Our class size is 105. So I think it's bigger than most other schools, but it's a pretty good size, and we have access to faculty and everyone. So it's a good size, and I don't think there's ever a moment where you feel like you're not heard or you don't know each other. We all know each other pretty well, so
Nice, nice, nice. So, when you were making your list of schools to eventually, figure out what school you wanted to go to, I mean, you're a first year student, so I'm guessing it wasn't too far for you, too far back to think. But what were some of the key factors that you had, when you were making your short list of schools to apply to and ultimately choosing UTSD?
So I always knew that I wanted to stay in Texas. I want to practice in Texas.
Okay.
And we have three different dental schools. So the way it works is we kind of fill out one general application, and that goes out to all three schools. And then the reason I picked Houston specifically is just because Houston's just different in the sense that they're very much centered on community and kind of just we're all a family. We're kind of all in this together, and that's just something that I knew that I needed based on where I grew up and where I was coming from. And Houston's just really big on advocating and being represented in things like ASDA and the ADA.
Mhm.
And we really are a family. Something that just kind of struck me as this is amazing. Right before we finished spring semester, we were about to have our finals week, and the Associate Dean of Student and Academic Affairs invited us all over. Him and his wife cooked a huge lunch for us. They made us tacos, and like I said,
Wow.
105, so that's a lot. And it was just him and his wife, and that's pretty great. That's basically how everyone at Houston is, and we're really big on that.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess well, you say you were from where originally? I'm sorry.
I'm from South Texas, so
Okay,
like
so
the very, very tip of Texas.
okay, but you just knew you wanted to stay in Texas, so it was pretty much a short list for you.
Yeah.
Got you, got you. So if you can remember back a little bit more to your actual interview process, once you actually, figured finish your applications, got interview requests or your interview invites, which I guess what kind of stood out about your interview day, if you could just take me through like how the day was scheduled for you, and then a little bit how you of your feelings going through the actual interview. So
Yeah, of course. So in Houston, they do the interviews every Tuesday. So every Tuesday, once they start, and it's basically all day. So you come in for like 8 in the morning and you're there till 3. And when you come in the mornings, they'll split you into 2 groups. So one group, we went on a tour, and then the other group started their individual interviews with a faculty that had already been pre-assigned. So of course, you know, the interview, you're kind of nervous. You're like, I don't know if I want to be in the first group and get it over with, or kind of just have more time to think about the questions. And it's very much, you're going in, they already know your GPA, they've seen your application, they know everything, they just want to get to know you. That's pretty much how it was in Houston. They ask you questions about, you know, kind of just what makes you you, what makes you different, what are your passions, things that you like. They want to try to see if you'd be a good fit. With lunch, what they do is they bring um, the student council is from every year, and so you get to have lunch with them, everyone as a group, and it's a really good time to ask questions, things that you may not feel confident enough to ask faculty, but you can definitely do that there. And then we wrap up the end of the day. They do lectures, not lectures, kind of give some talks on finances and what it looks like. The one cool thing that, I don't know if anyone else does this, but they, right before you're about to leave, they actually have you try on a white coat so that they can get your size. And then, because here we have our white coat ceremony right before we start our first year.
right.
So you know, you try on their white coat, you take the size, and it kind of feels good because you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm already in dental school.
Kind of official, right?
And then of course, if they do end up, if you get accepted and you end up coming there, then they already have all that set up, and so by the time you know you walk, they have your coat and everything. So it's pretty cool.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I like that. That's one touch I haven't really heard about at any of the school, but that's cool.
It's really great.
Yeah, yeah. So, we're just gonna stay in that mode of after you finish your interview, you get your acceptance. I'm sure you're excited. You get to stay in Texas. You find out, but so now, how was that transition originally? Heading into first year, and then how was I guess take like a typical week for like a first year student as well.
Yeah, sure. So the transition period for me was tough. First semester, it was kind of a learning curve for me. First semester was tough in the sense that I wasn't, they always say, you know, take a lot of classes in college because you're going to be taking a lot of classes in dental school.
Hmm.
And it is a pretty heavy workload cost wise. And so it was kind of hard for me to get used to that and figure out, you know, the best way to study given the amount of classes that we have. But once, you know, you figure it out. And by the time spring semester rolled around, it was great. I'm like, I got this. I know how to take all these classes and work on everything. It's good. But so the way we have it is it's 2 18-week semesters. So we go from fall, all of fall, take a break, all spring, and then 1 10-week summer session, which is what we're in right now.
Okay.
And so a typical week, you've got 2 to 3 exams a week, every week. It's just back to back. That's just kind of how it is. And Mondays we have wax lab. And so wax lab, you know, we'll have dental anatomy in the morning, wax lab all morning,
Hmm.
and then we're pretty much in lectures all afternoon. And the rest of the week is just lectures. So, you know, it's a lot of didactic science courses from 8 to 5, pretty much the first semester. And then second semester is pretty cool because we actually get to hold a handpiece. They put us in operative. And so we start doing restorations and preparations. And so we've learned so far how to do class 1s, class 3s, amalgam, and composite. So second semester is way better. They just kind of mix that up so you take less didactic courses so you have more time to be in operative and wax.
Okay, okay. And you guys are on like an integrated curriculum
We are.
or like okay.
Yeah, definitely. So especially in the spring semester, we saw that more. We would take like, we're going to do a month and a half or so of the whole cardiovascular system. And so we do anatomy, histology,
All right.
everything you need to know about that. Then we move on. Now we're going to do GI and so forth. So it's really good because you get to see everything at once.
Okay, cool. So I know you're still a first year technically, but have you seen a little bit about, how clinic kind of goes? Have you guys been able to assist first year? How is it with the transition getting into clinic there?
Yeah, definitely. So right from the very beginning when you start, they have us assisting. They teach us everything about infection control, setting up, breaking down an operatory, and then we're assisting third and fourth year students with
Mhm.
whatever cases they're on. So that's pretty much all we did first semester. Second semester, they let us shadow or assist depending on where you're at, specialties. So first semester was all general. second semester, they let us do specialties just to, so you can get an idea. Maybe you don't know what perio is, or maybe you already know, like, I'm going to do ortho. So then they let you go and assist for something like those specific cases. And right now in the summer for clinic, what they're having us do is we have student partners. Everyone during your first year, you're set up into one of 5 different group practices. You're
Okay.
going to do that same group practice for the rest of, you know, your 4 years of dental school. So you're going to have the same faculty. Those are going to be the ones you answer to when they teach you and everything. And so starting this summer, we have a student partner that's in our same practice, and we start doing perio charting on each other. We start doing head and neck exams, soft tissue, hard tissue exams. That's pretty cool. So they make us practice on each other before we actually start seeing patients, which is going to be, we do start seeing patients our second year.
Nice.
And then after that, third year is pretty much mostly clinic. And by the time you're fourth year, you're only in clinic.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty, I guess, maybe not standard progression into clinic, but that sounds like it gets you, you know, acclimated with actually being in clinic very early and getting comfortable with, you know, interacting with each other, eventually a patient. So that's cool. It's a good progression. One thing I do want to say is, you know, and I'm sure you know now, you figured it out after your first year, is dental school can be extremely hectic, frantic, stressful, all of the above. How do you kind of deal with stress yourself? And then are there any systems that UTSD kind of put into place, whether it's like, you know, scheduling of tests on certain days, or maybe giving you guys Fridays off after tests, something like that? Is there anything that they do to help with that? You know, maybe a psychologist or a faculty member you can talk to as well?
Yeah, definitely. So UTSD has a lot of organizations, just depending on kind of what you want to do. Different clubs that you can join. Right from the beginning, they let you know during orientation week, right before you start school, this is everything we have. Go ahead and join, be as active as you can. And so that's really great. It's a really good outlet. Um, Me specifically, first semester, like I said, it was kind of tough for me to even think about doing other subjects. I really wanted to focus on getting school down. But by the time spring rolled around, it was great. We've been, as a class, we've done a lot of things together. So we've gone to Rockets games, we've seen basketball games, and we've done a lot of things together. And it's kind of crazy because I've had people ask me, like, y'all are in school all day and you still want to do stuff together, like outside? I'm like, yeah, we're a family. So it's been great. One of the biggest things I was super excited about to move to Houston is just to be able to try all these different foods. I'm a foodie. So there's so many restaurants and there's so many different like food trucks and things to try here. So whenever I'm done with a major test, I'm like, I got to go eat somewhere. Like, this is my de-stressor. I'm so excited. So that's something that I like to do. But yeah, no, there's definitely, like I said, it's a lot of things to do in Houston, and some people I know that, you know, they like to work out. And so just kind of finding whatever, if you already have a routine, it might not be easy to right away start dental school and continue with it, but eventually you'll find your rhythm and you'll get going again. So
Now that you've spent a year at UTSD, I guess you would be able to give me, or I guess if you could give us a few things that you feel like have been unique to your experience there so far, and things that you wouldn't necessarily change, uh, you know, that you've had experiences in so far there, things that you see as advantages there.
yeah, definitely. So we take business class pretty much all throughout the 4 years. They want us involved in knowing things about a practice and insurance and things like that. So something really cool that our school has is something called the PACE Center. So here it has to do with alumni and even current students and things like that. But basically one of the coolest things about it is that when you graduate for 3 years post-graduation, if you ever need to bring a contract or something that, you know, you've been offered at a practice or anything like that, they'll help you look over it and tell you, you know, this is what you should do. You shouldn't take this isn't a good deal, ask for this, which is something that, you know, a lot of us leave dental school, we don't really know. You have to hire somebody to help you. And so they do this for you. And that's pretty amazing. I love that they have that. Another thing that they just incorporated this summer, and it's going to be full effect starting the fall, is that we're going to have our own UT physicians clinic within the dental school. So if we normally, what would happen without it is a patient comes in, you take their blood pressure, for example, it's too high. You take it again, it's still too high. You can't do any work on the patient today. So you send them out, you refer them, you're like, hey, go to see your doctor. We need to get a clearance, come back, and then, you know, we'll get work done. Sometimes it just takes too long for that to happen. The patient gets discouraged, doesn't come back. So now we have our own nurse practitioner and, you know, doctor within our dental school. So if that does come up or anything else that just the patient can't be seen to be seen by a doctor, they we take them to get seen right away, and then from there we can keep going, whatever the next step may be. So that's also pretty cool that we're starting that fully 100% this fall. So
Man, that's awesome. That's actually a great, I think, something that in addition that every school should really think about considering, because honestly, you just never know what circumstances are for patients or anything. So that's awesome.
yeah, it's definitely cool, but things like that. And our school's amazing. I could talk here forever. We have a lot of stuff.
Cool, cool. This is the platform to do it. If you have anything you want to add, just feel free. Feel free. So if I were a student that was interested in UTSD as potential school of mine, what are some things I should start focusing on now to help me be successful in getting in, as well as be successful once I do actually get into the school?
Um, I would say definitely, take your science courses, take your anatomies and your chemistries and all
Mhm.
that, and just be, making sure you're understanding all that fully. Especially because the first 2 years, it's a lot of didactic basic science
Right.
courses. So a lot of it are things that you may have already seen and maybe just more expanded, more detailed on that. That's definitely going to be helpful. Something that may not be particular to UTSD, but I would say to anyone is try to find some kind of mentor in dentistry, whether that's like a dentist or and anyone who's already been through this, just because it would be really helpful to get a better idea of what life is like after dental school. Because when you're here, sometimes there are days that are tough, and you're sitting, you're like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
It's good to remember like what it's going to be like post graduation, what you're driving forward, what you're going to. And so if you have a really good idea of what that is going in, it'll help you while you're here to just remember, like, there's a purpose to why I'm doing this, and it's something that I'm actually really passionate about, as opposed to you don't really know what you're getting yourself into, and then you start and you're like, oh, I'm not so sure if this is what I wanted to do. So I
Okay.
on that.
Yeah, cool, cool. Definitely. That was great advice. And the last question that I do have, you kind of touched on a little bit there, but for anyone who may be struggling through their journey, getting into dental school, maybe hit a roadblock, whatever the case may be, um, do you have any last words of advice or encouragement or motivation that you could give to, the viewers out there that may be struggling through a portion of, filling out the application or taking the DAT, whatever the road bump they hit, like what kind of motivation or what kind of words of wisdom could you give to them?
Definitely. So it's tough. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been through it, and sometimes it seems like you're like, oh, I'm never gonna make it.
Right.
The one thing that I would definitely recommend is whether you're sitting in an organic chemistry class or microbiology, or you're volunteering in a nursing home, or actually shadowing, something related to dentistry, be as immersed into it as you can. Try to be as present as you can in every single experience, because something that I've noticed with my peers and with myself, and even um, second and third and fourth years, is every experience that you have leading up to it, you're gonna make it. You're gonna get there. It's you'll work hard and you'll do it, but it'll affect the kind of dental student you'll become. Every experience that you have will change the way you see things. I know that some of my classmates see things differently than I do, just because of where we came from and the things we've done getting to this point. It's great. It's amazing. But not just the dental student aspect, but it'll affect what kind of doctor you'll become,
Mhm.
after you graduate. So just try to be as present. If someone could, if I could go back and be like, no, pay attention into that, listen to that professor, or, just observe what's going on around you, be observant. I would definitely give that advice to all the pre-dents that are still trying to get in and do all that stuff.
Awesome, awesome. Well, again, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for giving us some time, Claudia, giving some great insight into UTSD. Your experience so far has definitely been helpful. I've learned a lot about your school and your process so far, and I'm sure all the viewers out there looking at this, trying to decide if they want to apply or go there, have learned a bunch as well. I just want to say thank you on behalf of FutureDDS, all subscribers and all the viewers out there. Take some time off of that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. But if you wouldn't mind, if for all the prospective students out there that may have questions about you, your journey, or UTSD, about the process getting to there, would you mind, giving me your social media, or should you suggest that they just head to the website? What would you say?
Yeah, no, definitely. They can go on my Instagram page, and if they want to send me a private message or comment on anything, I post about dental school stuff all the time. They definitely can.
Awesome, 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 man. Just quick moment. What is your IG exactly? I'm gonna put it in the description as well, but just in
Yeah,
case people
sure.
are driving or something and just listening.
It's at always and then Clau, so it's CLAU.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, again, Claudia, thank you. We'll make sure we put that information down in the description for anyone who wants to reach out to you and ask you some more questions, specific questions about UTSD. But again, we want to say thank you, and definitely wish you the best of luck heading into second year. Well, you finishing up first year now, heading into second year, and throughout your dental school career.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, no problem, man. For everyone out there listening, definitely take heed to everything Claudia is saying. She's giving great advice about UTSD as well as general advice about your process, your progress and process getting into dental school. So take heed to that. Make sure you hit her up if you have any questions about UTSD. Hit us up if you have any other questions as well. We'll make sure we get in touch with you, get back with you, or relay your questions to her. Other than that, that's going to be it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, as well as the notification bell so you know whenever we post new content. Make sure you tap into all of the videos because we're going through all the schools across America. We want to help you make the best decision on which school is going to be right for you. But that's going to be it. See you guys next time.